Have you ever had to choose between your dignity and a paycheck? I have, and at Christmas, no less. Because apparently, some rich men think they can buy everything, including the right to ruin other people's holidays. My name is Hannah Lee. I'm 26 years old, and I work as an events manager at the Fairmont Hotel in Vancouver. Well, I worked, because the story I'm about to tell changed everything. It changed my career, my perspective on justice, and my understanding of how much power ordinary people actually have when they decide to stand together. It was December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas. Snow was falling heavily over Vancouver, blanketing the North Shore Mountains in that kind of pristine white that makes everything look magical. Except there was nothing magical about what was about to happen. I was standing in the hotel's main lobby, checking the last-minute arrangements for the corporate Christmas party that would begin in 3 hours. The ballroom was decorated like a winter wonderland, twinkling white lights on every surface, 8-foot Christmas trees in each corner, tables set with china and crystal that probably cost more than my car. Everything had to be perfect. The client had made that very clear. Very, very clear. Hannah. My manager Graham's voice made me turn. He looked nervous, which was never a good sign. Graham was in his 50s, had managed high-profile events for decades, and nothing rattled him. Except today, apparently. He's here. He was Preston Montgomery, CEO of Montgomery Tech, a software company worth billions. He'd rented out the entire hotel for 3 days for his company's Christmas party. 300 employees, executives, investors, all staying at our establishment. It was the biggest event of the year for us. And Preston Montgomery was known for being impossible to please. Already? I glanced at my watch. The party doesn't start until 7. It's only 4. He wants to check everything personally. Graham ran a hand through his thinning hair. And Hannah? Be careful. Very careful. I've heard stories about him. He fired an entire event planning team last year because the flowers weren't the exact shade of silver he wanted. My stomach tightened, but I forced a smile. It'll be fine. We followed his specifications to the letter. But as I walked toward the ballroom entrance where Preston Montgomery was waiting, I had no idea how wrong I was. Because some men don't want things to be perfect. They want things to be impossible, so they have an excuse to exercise power over people who can't fight back. He was standing near the ballroom door, looking at his phone. Tall, probably 6'3", with the kind of angular good looks you see in business magazines. Tailored black suit, watch that probably cost more than my entire college education. Early 30s, perfectly styled blonde hair. Mr. Montgomery? I extended my hand with my warmest professional smile. I'm Hannah Lee, the events manager who coordinated your... You're late. He didn't even look up from his phone. My hand hung in the air for an awkward moment before I lowered it. Sir, with respect, we didn't have an appointment until...
When I arrive at a hotel I'm paying $60,000 a day to rent, I expect someone to be available immediately. He finally looked at me, and his eyes were the color of steel, cold, calculating. Is this the kind of service your hotel provides, making clients wait? I took a deep breath. Of course not, sir. I'm here now. May I show you what we've prepared for tonight? He didn't answer, just walked into the ballroom. I followed, my heart pounding faster with each step. For the next 45 minutes, Preston Montgomery found fault with everything. The lights were too bright, then too dim. The trees were positioned wrong. The table settings weren't aligned precisely enough. The temperature was 2 degrees off what he'd specified, even though I'd personally checked it 3 times that afternoon. This is completely unacceptable, he said, standing in the center of the room with his arms crossed. I'm paying a premium for perfection, and this is what I get? Amateur hour? Mr. Montgomery, I assure you we can adjust anything you'd like. We still have 3 hours. 3 hours. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. You think 3 hours is enough to fix this disaster? Do you have any idea how important this event is? Do you have any concept of the level of client we're dealing with here? My face burned. In the corner of my eye, I could see my team watching. Claire, who'd been arranging flowers for the past 2 hours. Brandon, who'd spent all afternoon perfecting the lighting. Yuki, the head chef, who'd been in the kitchen since 5 that morning preparing a menu that Montgomery had changed 4 times. We understand the importance, sir, and we're committed to... Your Christmas ends when I say it ends. You and your entire staff will stay here until every single detail is exactly as I specified. I don't care if it takes all night. I don't care if it's Christmas Eve. You'll work until I'm satisfied, or I'll make sure this hotel's reputation is destroyed by morning. The room went silent. Even the soft Christmas music playing in the background seemed to fade. I stared at him, trying to process what he'd just said. Sir, many of our staff have families. It's Christmas Eve tomorrow. We have people with children waiting at home. Then they should have done their jobs correctly the first time. He turned away from me dismissively. I want the entire room redone. Different flowers, warmer lighting, move those trees. And I want a new menu. This one is boring. Mr. Montgomery, the menu was approved by you 3 days ago. The chef has already prepared... I changed my mind. That's my prerogative as the client. Or is this hotel incapable of accommodating last-minute requests? I felt my hands clench into fists at my sides. My Helmione always told me, Hanaya, sometimes you have to bend like bamboo in the wind, but bamboo knows the difference between bending and breaking. Right now, I was very close to breaking. We can accommodate your request, sir, but I need to be honest with you. Some of these changes will require bringing in additional staff on Christmas Eve, which will incur substantial overtime costs. And changing the menu completely at this stage? Do I look like I care about costs? He stepped closer to me, and I could smell his expensive cologne. Let me make something very clear to you, Miss... He paused as if he'd already forgotten my name. Lee. I don't pay people to tell me what's difficult or expensive. I pay people to do what I want, when I want it, how I want it. If you can't handle that, I'll call your corporate office and have you replaced within the hour. Do we understand each other? My throat felt tight. I could feel tears threatening, but I refused to let them fall. Not in front of him, not in front of my team. Yes, sir. We understand each other perfectly. Good. I'll be back at 6 to inspect everything again. And Hana? He said my name like it tasted bad in his mouth. Don't disappoint me. I have a very long memory, and I make it my business to remember people who fail me. He walked out, leaving behind a room full of stunned silence and the faint scent of his arrogance. Graham came over immediately, his face pale. Hana, I'm so sorry. I'll call corporate. Maybe they can... No. I straightened my shoulders. We'll do what he asked. We don't have a choice. But even as I said it, I felt something shift inside me. A small voice that whispered, Yes, you do. You always have a choice. I pushed it aside and started making calls. Additional florists, lighting technicians... I texted Yuki about the menu change, and his response was a string of Korean curse words followed by, This is impossible, Hana! I know, I texted back, but we have to try. For the next hour, the hotel transformed into organized chaos. Staff who'd been about to leave for the day were called back. Florists who'd been closing up shop reopened. The kitchen became a war zone of preparation and stress. And through it all, I kept thinking about Preston Montgomery's words. Your Christmas ends when I say it ends. Like he owned time itself. Like he owned us. At 5:30, Claire came to find me. She's been my work best friend since I started at the Fairmont 3 years ago. British Canadian, early 30s, with red hair and a temper to match. Hana, can we talk? I looked up from the seating chart I was revising for the 3rd time. If it's quick, Montgomery will be back in 30 minutes. That's what I want to talk about. She glanced around, then lowered her voice. This is wrong. What he's doing is wrong. He can't just own people like this. He's the client, Claire. He's paying. I don't care what he's paying. There's a line and he's crossed it. She pulled out her phone. I've been looking up labor laws. What he's demanding, threatening people's jobs if they don't work through Christmas Eve, that's not legal. It's coercion. My heart started pounding, but not from stress this time, from something else, something that felt dangerously like hope. Claire, we can't. Why not? Why can't we stand up to him? What's he going to do? Fire 300 hotel employees on Christmas Eve? That would be a PR nightmare even he couldn't buy his way out of. He'll just go after me. I'm the manager. I'm responsible. So let him. She sat down next to me. Hannah, I've been watching you all afternoon. I've seen the way you hold yourself together when he talks down to you, the way you protect the rest of us by taking all his abuse yourself. But you know what I haven't seen? I haven't seen you fight back. Fighting back gets you nowhere. It just makes things worse. Does it? Or is that what we've been trained to believe so people like Preston Montgomery can keep treating people like property? Before I could answer, Brandon appeared. He's one of our lighting technicians, 24, always cheerful, always willing to help. Except right now, he wasn't cheerful. He looked furious. I'm not doing it. Brandon, I'm not redoing all the lighting for the 4th time because some billionaire has nothing better to do than torture service workers. It's perfect. It was perfect 3 hours ago. And I'm supposed to meet my family for dinner tonight because I'm leaving tomorrow to visit my grandmother in Calgary. She's 92, Hannah. This might be my last Christmas with her. The room suddenly felt very small and very quiet. In the background, I could hear Yuki in the kitchen shouting instructions to his team. Christmas music was still playing somewhere, cheerful and oblivious. What if we just said no? Claire's voice was barely above a whisper. We can't, I said, but my voice lacked conviction. Why not? Give me one good reason why we can't tell Preston Montgomery that we're human beings with families and lives and the right to not be treated like slaves. Because, I struggled to find the words, because that's not how the world works. People like him always win. They have the money, the power, the connections. We're just what? Just people? Brandon's voice was sharp. Just workers who don't deserve basic respect? Just humans who should be grateful for the privilege of being humiliated? I opened my mouth to respond, but Graham's voice crackled over my radio. Hannah, he's back. Montgomery just pulled up. 5 minutes. My stomach dropped. 5 minutes. 5 minutes to decide who I was going to be. The person who bent until she broke? Or the person who finally stood up straight? Claire squeezed my hand. Whatever you decide, we're with you. I looked around the ballroom, at the decorations we'd spent days perfecting, at the tables we'd set and reset, at my team who'd worked themselves to exhaustion trying to meet impossible demands. And I thought about tomorrow, Christmas Eve. All the families who wouldn't see their loved ones because one man decided his whims were more important than their lives. Get everyone together, I heard myself say. All the staff working this event. Kitchen, front desk, housekeeping, everyone. I want them in the back conference room in 3 minutes. Claire's eyes went wide. Hannah. 3 minutes. Go. They ran. And I stood there in the middle of that perfect, oppressive ballroom, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years. I felt powerful. The conference room was packed. 47 people, all in their hotel uniforms, all looking exhausted and anxious. I could see Yuki in the back, still wearing his chef's whites. Claire and Brandon near the front.
Graham by the door looking like he might have a heart attack. "Thank you for coming," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. "I know we're all stressed. I know we're all tired. And I know most of you are wondering why I called this meeting when our client is about to arrive." "Hannah," Graham started, but I held up a hand. "I need to tell you all something. Something I should have said hours ago. What Preston Montgomery is demanding from us isn't just difficult. It isn't just inconvenient. It's wrong. He's treating us like we are property he can command. Like our time, our families, our Christmas doesn't matter because he has money." I saw heads nodding, saw the anger that I'd been feeling reflected in dozens of faces. He told me, "Your Christmas ends when I say it ends." Like he has that right, like he owns us. I took a deep breath, but he doesn't. He can't buy our dignity. He can't purchase our humanity. And he absolutely cannot take away our right to say enough. "What are you suggesting?" someone called from the back. It was Trevor, one of the night porters, a guy who'd been with the hotel for 15 years. "I'm suggesting we tell him the truth, that we've prepared a beautiful event, that we've met every reasonable request, but that we're not going to destroy our Christmas, abandon our families, and sacrifice our well-being because he's bored and wants to exercise power over people he sees as beneath him." The room erupted, some people cheering, others looking terrified, everyone talking at once. I could hear fragments of conversation. "She's right. We'll get fired. About time someone said it. My kids are waiting for me." "He'll destroy us," someone shouted. It was Elena from housekeeping, and her voice was shaking. "Let him try," Claire shouted back. "Let him explain to the media why he ruined Christmas for 47 hotel workers because the flowers weren't perfect enough." "The media?" Graham's face had gone even paler. "Hannah, if this turns into some kind of public relations nightmare, then maybe that's what needs to happen," I said. "Maybe people need to see what happens behind the scenes. How the wealthy treat service workers like we're disposable. How they think money gives them the right to abuse us." "We could lose our jobs," Graham said, and he looked directly at me. "Hannah, you could lose your career, everything you've worked for. Your parents moved to Vancouver so you could go to UBC. Your parents worked in that grocery store for years to pay your tuition. Are you really willing to throw all that away?" His words hit harder than I expected, because he was right. My parents sacrificed everything. My Appa still works night shifts at the store even though his back hurt. My Oma cleans houses on weekends to help with my student loans. They'd given up their comfortable life and soul so my brother and I could have opportunities in Canada. And here I was, about to throw it all away for, what? Pride? Principle? I heard myself say, my parents didn't sacrifice everything so I could learn to bow down to bullies. They taught me to stand up, to fight, to never let anyone make me less than I am. My phone buzzed. A text from the front desk. "Montgomery in elevator. 2 minutes." My heart was pounding so hard I thought everyone could hear it. "I need to know," I said to the room, and my voice was shaking now. "If I go out there and tell him we're done being treated like this, who stands with me?" For a long moment, no one moved, and I felt my resolve wavering. Maybe I was crazy. Maybe I was throwing everything away for nothing. Maybe Graham was right, and I should just apologize, redo the flowers, change the menu, work through Christmas Eve, and learn to live with the taste of humiliation in my mouth. Maybe that's just how the world works. But then Brandon raised his hand. "I'm with you." Then Claire. "Me too." Then Yuki stepped forward. "My grandfather always tell me, one chopstick breaks easy, many chopsticks, together, unbreakable. We are many chopsticks, Hana-san." One by one, hands went up. Elena, who had been scared moments before. Trevor, who had 15 years to lose. The front desk staff, the kitchen crew, the housekeepers who cleaned rooms while guests slept, invisible to everyone. 47 hands. Every single person in that room. I felt tears sting my eyes, but this time I let them fall.
Thank you. All of you. This might not end well, but at least we'll face it together. What's the plan? Claire asked, and there was something fierce in her eyes that I'd never seen before. I didn't have one, really, but I knew what felt right. We tell him the truth. We show him the event we've created, and we let him know that we are professionals who deserve respect, not servants who take abuse. If he can't accept that, then he can find another venue for his party. Graham made a strangled sound. Hannah, we can't just kick out our biggest client. The corporate office will... Watch me.
I turned and walked toward the door. Behind me, I heard footsteps. Not just one or two, all of them. 46 people following me, like an army marching into battle. As we moved through the hotel corridors, I noticed something. Other staff members, people who weren't even working the Montgomery event, started joining us. The concierge, the valet attendants, even Harold from maintenance, who I'd never seen show emotion about anything. By the time we reached the lobby, we were over 60 people strong. Preston Montgomery was standing near the front desk when we arrived. He was on his phone, probably complaining to someone about something. He looked up, saw our group, and his expression shifted from boredom to confusion to anger in rapid succession. "What is this?" he demanded, lowering his phone. "Some kind of union protest? Let me tell you right now, I have lawyers who—" "Mr. Montgomery," I interrupted him, and the look of shock on his face was almost worth whatever was about to happen. "The ballroom is ready for your event. It's beautiful, professional, and exactly according to the specifications you provided 3 days ago. Your menu is prepared by one of the best chefs in Vancouver. Your staff are trained and professional. Everything is perfect. I'll be the judge of—" "I'm not finished." My voice was louder now, stronger, and I saw him actually take a step back. "What won't be happening? In the complete overhaul you demanded 4 hours before your event. What won't be happening is my staff sacrificing their Christmas Eve with their families because you decided to exercise power over people who couldn't fight back. What won't be happening is anyone else being told that their Christmas ends when you say it ends." The lobby had gone completely silent. Even the Christmas music seemed to have stopped. I could see hotel guests pausing mid-step to watch us, could see people pulling out their phones, probably recording. Good. Let them record. Let the world see. Preston's face turned red, the color starting at his collar and spreading upward like a thermometer about to explode. "Do you have any idea who you're talking to? A client who needs to learn that money doesn't buy the right to treat people like garbage. I will destroy you." His voice was shaking with rage. "I will destroy this hotel. I'll make sure you never work in this industry again. I'll call every hotel chain in North America. I'll post reviews everywhere. I'll tell everyone that the Fairmont Vancouver employs insubordinate, unprofessional staff who refuse to accommodate client needs. You'll what?" It was Claire who spoke now, stepping forward to stand beside me. "Post bad reviews online? Call our corporate office. Go to the media and explain how you demanded an entire hotel staff work through Christmas Eve because you wanted different flowers? Yeah, that's excellent PR. I don't care about PR. I care about getting what I paid for. You paid for a Christmas event, and you're getting one. What you didn't pay for is the right to abuse people. That's not for sale. Not here. Not ever." Others started stepping forward now. Brandon stood on my other side. Yuki moved to join us. Then Elena. Then Trevor. A wall of hotel staff in various uniforms standing together. "Mr. Montgomery," I said, and my voice was calmer now, more controlled. "You can accept what we've prepared and have a wonderful event for your employees. Or you can leave, and we'll refund your entire payment. Those are your options. Choose one." For a long moment, he just stared at us. I could see the calculation happening behind his eyes, the weighing of options, the consideration of consequences. He glanced at the guests watching us, at the phones recording, at the unified wall of staff facing him. "You're making the biggest mistake of your life," he finally said, pulling out his phone. "Maybe, but it's our mistake to make.
He started dialing, and I braced myself. This was it, the call to corporate, the threats, the end of everything I'd worked for. I thought about my parents, about disappointing them, about all their sacrifices being for nothing. But I also thought about looking myself in the mirror tomorrow, about being able to tell my future children that when it mattered, I stood up, that I didn't bend. Preston held the phone to his ear. Yes, I need to speak to someone about the Fairmont, Vancouver. I'm a client and I've just been subjected to the most unprofessional. He paused, listened. His expression changed. What do you mean you've been receiving calls? From who? He listened for another moment, and the color started draining from his face. I don't care what social media is saying. I'm the client. I'm paying $60,000, and I demand. Another pause, longer this time. That's not. I never said that. They're twisting my words. Claire leaned over and whispered, I might have texted a few friends in hospitality, who might have texted a few more friends, who might have posted about a certain billionaire threatening to steal Christmas from hotel workers. I stared at her. You didn't. #Your Christmas ends now has been trending locally for the last 15 minutes. She showed me her phone. Thousands of tweets, Instagram posts, TikTok videos, people sharing their stories of their own experiences with abusive clients, workers standing up for each other, the narrative spreading like wildfire. Preston was still on the phone, and he looked like he was going to be sick. I understand that, but no, I'm not trying to create a PR incident. I just wanted. Yes, I understand. I'll handle it. He hung up and stood there for a moment, staring at his phone like it had betrayed him. When he finally looked up at us, something had shifted in his expression. The anger was still there, but underneath it was something else, something that looked almost like fear. That was your corporate office, he said, and his voice was tight. Apparently, I'm causing a situation that reflects poorly on my company. My board has concerns about the optics of the hashtag trending with my name attached to it. Imagine that. Actions having consequences. He took a step toward me, and instinctively the staff around me moved closer, creating a protective barrier. You did this. You orchestrated this whole thing. I stood up for my team. If that created a PR problem for you, maybe that says more about your behavior than my response. I could still ruin you. One call to the right people, and you'll never work again. Go ahead. But you'll be the billionaire who destroyed a young woman's career because she asked to be treated with basic dignity. I'm sure that'll help with your board's concerns. We stood there, locked in a stalemate. Him with his money and power and threats, us with nothing but our unified refusal to be broken. And then something completely unexpected happened. Preston Montgomery started to cry. Not angry tears, not frustrated tears, real, genuine, broken sobbing. He covered his face with his hands, and his shoulders shook. The entire lobby watched in stunned silence as one of the richest men in Vancouver fell apart in front of 60 hotel workers and dozens of guests. I can't. His voice was muffled behind his hands. I can't do this anymore. I can't be this person. Graham moved forward cautiously, like approaching a wild animal. Mr. Montgomery? Sir? Are you... My daughter. Preston lowered his hands, and his face was wet with tears. Emma. She's 8 years old. She's at Vancouver General right now, in the pediatric oncology ward. Leukemia. Stage 3. This is her second Christmas in treatment. The anger I had been holding on to started to crack. Just a little. Just enough to let in something else. Last year, he continued, his voice breaking,
I missed her entire hospital Christmas party because I was in New York closing a business deal. I chose a merger over my daughter's Christmas. I thought money mattered more than time. I thought providing for her financially was the same as being there for her. He wiped his face with his sleeve, not caring that he was destroying an expensive suit. She made me promise this year would be different, that this year I'd make Christmas magical for everyone at my company, the way I should have made it magical for her last year. She said, "Daddy, if you can't be here with me, at least make other people happy." So I've been trying, but I've been trying so hard to make it perfect that I've been turning into the same person I was last year, just in a different way.
Yuki stepped forward slowly, reached into his pocket, and pulled out a small omamori charm, the kind you get from Japanese temples, blue silk embroidered with gold thread. "This is from my mother," he said in his thick accent. "She sent when my son was sick 5 years ago. He is healthy now, lives in Kyoto, has baby of his own. You take, for Emma." Preston stared at the charm like Yuki had just offered him the world. I can't accept something so personal." "Yes, you can." Yuki pressed it into his hand, closing Preston's fingers around it. "Children need all the protection. Money protection, prayer protection, love protection. All of it. This is love protection, from one father to another." Preston looked down at the charm in his palm and fresh tears started falling. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you." Claire stepped forward next. "My sister beat leukemia when she was 7. She's 23 now, studying to be a doctor. If you want, I can connect you with the support group my family used. It really helped them get through the hardest days." He seemed unable to finish sentences. "That would be, yes, please." One by one, members of the staff came forward, not with submission, not with the artificial friendliness of service workers, but with genuine human compassion. Trevor told him about his nephew who'd survived childhood cancer. Elena shared the name of a charity that provides gifts for kids in hospitals. Brandon offered to create a playlist of cheerful songs for Emma. And Preston Montgomery, tech billionaire, stood in the middle of our lobby and received kindness from people he'd been treating like servants. "I don't deserve this," he finally said, looking at all of us. "I've been horrible to you. I threatened you. I tried to steal your Christmas, and you're being kind to me." That's the thing about kindness. It's not about deserving. It's about recognizing that we're all human, all struggling, all doing the best we can with the pain we're carrying. He wiped his eyes again and took a shaky breath. "The event, what you've created. May I see it? Please." I nodded and gestured for him to follow. The entire group moved together, this strange parade of hotel staff and humbled billionaire, walking through the corridors to the ballroom. When we opened the doors, I saw the room with fresh eyes, not as a space we'd created under duress, but as something beautiful we made together despite everything. The lights twinkled like stars reflected in water. The trees stood tall and elegant, covered in silver and white ornaments. The tables gleamed with crystal and porcelain, each setting perfect down to the last fork. "It's beautiful," Preston whispered. "It's more than beautiful. It's what I would have wanted for Emma, if she could be here. It's what we created for your employees. People who work hard, who deserve to celebrate, who matter." He walked slowly through the room, touching decorations gently, looking at the menu cards Yuki had personally calligraphied, examining the favors Claire had assembled. When he reached the center of the ballroom, he turned to face us all. "I'm going to make some changes, not to the event, to me, to how I treat people, to what I prioritize."
He pulled out his phone, and for a moment I thought he was going to make another threat. But instead, he opened his contacts. He's calling my assistant. I want everyone on your staff who worked this event to receive a Christmas bonus, significant enough that you know how much I appreciate your work and your forgiveness. Mr. Montgomery, that's not necessary. It's the least I can do. Actually, it's far less than the least. But it's a start. He made the call right there, his voice professional but kind, authorizing bonuses that made my eyes water. $5,000 for each staff member, over $300,000 total.
When he hung up, he looked at me. Ms. Lee, Hannah, I'd like to offer you a position. My stomach dropped. After everything that just happened, he was going to try to buy me? Sir, I don't think... Let me finish, please. My company is opening a new division, corporate culture and employee well-being. We've been treating our workers the same way I treated you today, like resources instead of people. I want to change that. And I need someone who can stand up to power, someone who leads with both strength and compassion, someone who'll tell executives like me when we're being insufferable. He named a salary that was triple what I made now, plus benefits, plus the authority to actually make changes. I looked at my team, at Claire, who'd started a #revolution, at Yuki, who'd shared his mother's sacred charm, at Brandon, who'd been the first to raise his hand. I need time to think about it. Of course, take all the time you need. But Hannah, what you did today, choosing dignity over obedience, standing up even when it could cost you everything, that's the rarest thing in business. That's what my company needs most. That's what I need to learn. The party that night was magical, not because of the decorations, though they were perfect, not because of the food, though Yuki outdid himself, but because word had spread about what happened, about the staff who stood together, about the billionaire who learned something, about the power of collective action. Preston's employees arrived expecting a typical corporate Christmas party and instead found something real. Their CEO, who usually gave stiff speeches about quarterly earnings, stood up and told them about his daughter, about his failures as a father, about how the hotel staff had taught him more about humanity in one afternoon than he'd learned in 15 years of business school. My daughter Emma wanted me to make Christmas magical for all of you, he said, his voice carrying across the ballroom. And I nearly destroyed it by forgetting what magic really is. It's not perfection. It's not expensive flowers or precise lighting. It's people caring for each other. It's kindness when someone doesn't deserve it. It's standing up for what is right even when it's hard. He looked directly at me. The staff of this hotel could have let me bully them. They could have worked through Christmas Eve while their families waited at home, but instead they taught me that some things can't be bought, that dignity isn't for sale, that true power comes from standing together. The ballroom erupted in applause. Preston's employees were on their feet cheering, and I stood there with my team around me, feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Pride. Not the fake professional pride of executing a perfect event, but real pride in standing up, in fighting back, in winning. At 6:30, as promised, I let my team leave. They hugged me on their way out, one by one. Claire whispered, "You're my hero." Brandon said, "That was the bravest thing I've ever seen." Yuki bowed deeply, which somehow meant more than words ever could. Elena stopped and took my hands. My daughter asked me last week why I let people be mean to me at work. I told her that's just how the world is. But tonight I get to go home and tell her something different. I get to tell her that sometimes people stand up, and sometimes they win. I stayed a bit longer, making sure the event ran smoothly. Around 7:30, Preston found me near the kitchen, where I was helping Yuki's team with cleanup, even though I didn't have to.
I'm going to the hospital to see Emma, to tell her about tonight, about how I finally learned what she's been trying to teach me all along. That's good. Will you think about my offer, please? I know it's sudden, and I know you have no reason to trust me, but I promise you I'm going to change, and I can't do it without people like you keeping me honest. I'll think about it. Genuinely. But, Mr. Montgomery, Preston, what Emma needs most isn't a father who's perfect. It's a father who's present. Don't chase perfection at work so hard that you miss the imperfect, beautiful moments with her. Those moments are the only ones that matter. He nodded, and I could see him really hearing me. Thank you. For everything. For standing up. For teaching me. For giving me a gift I didn't know I needed. After he left, I stood alone in the beautiful ballroom and let myself breathe. Really breathe. Maybe for the first time all day. My phone buzzed with a text from my Amma. Coming home for Christmas Eve tomorrow? Your Appa and I making your favorite, bulgogi and all the banchan. Your brother coming too. I smiled and typed back, wouldn't miss it for the world. And Amma, I have a story to tell you. About standing up. About being brave like you taught me. She sent back a string of heart emojis and the Korean flag, which was her way of saying she was proud. I walked out of the hotel that night into the snowy Vancouver streets, and the city had never looked more beautiful. The mountains were dark silhouettes against the starlit sky. Christmas lights decorated every building. Somewhere, carolers were singing. And I felt different. Lighter. Stronger. Like I had shed a skin I didn't know I'd been wearing. The skin of someone who bent instead of stood, who accepted instead of challenged, who believed that money and power always won. Because they don't. Not always. Not when people stand together. 3 months later, I took Preston's job offer. Not because of the money, though that helps me pay off my student loans and help my parents, but because I believed he was serious about changing, and because I wanted to be part of something bigger than just planning events. I wanted to help build a company culture where people mattered more than profits. Emma's doing better. The leukemia is in remission. She's back in school wearing a pink wig she picked out herself because her real hair is still growing back. Preston brings her to the office sometimes, and she holds meetings with the executives about making work more fun. They listen to her like she's the CEO. Maybe she should be. My team from that night, we still get together once a month at a Korean barbecue place in Gastown. We call ourselves the Christmas Resistance, and we've become informal advocates for worker rights in the hospitality industry. Claire started a nonprofit that helps service workers understand their legal rights. Brandon writes a popular blog about standing up to workplace abuse. Yuki teaches young chefs about maintaining dignity in high-pressure kitchens. And I help companies remember that their employees are human beings, with families and dreams, and the right to be treated with respect. That money doesn't buy loyalty or dedication or excellence. Those things are earned through basic human decency. Preston was right about one thing. What happened that Christmas Eve was rare, but it shouldn't be. Standing up for dignity shouldn't be brave. It should be normal. Expected. The bare minimum. Maybe one day it will be. Maybe one day no worker will have to choose between their job and their humanity, between their paycheck and their Christmas, between bending and breaking. Until then, I'll keep telling this story, keep reminding people that they have more power than they think, that they can say no, even to people who seem to own everything, that standing together is stronger than any individual wealth or influence, because the truth is, the only thing money can never buy is the thing that matters most, your dignity, your choice, your refusal to be less than you are. And that's worth fighting for, at Christmas and every single day after. If you've ever felt powerless at work, trapped between survival and self-respect, I want you to remember this. You are not alone. You are not weak. And you have more power than you know. The power to stand up, the power to say enough, the power to write your own ending. Use it wisely, use it bravely, use it together. And maybe, just maybe, we can all have a Christmas that ends on our terms. If you want to hear more stories about people who stood up when it mattered most, about ordinary people discovering extraordinary courage, keep watching. Because these stories matter. They remind us who we are, who we can be, and what we're capable of when we stop accepting unacceptable things. Your Christmas doesn't end when someone else says so. It ends when you decide, on your terms, with your family, in your own time. And that's a gift no amount of money can ever purchase.